Hi guys, I hope everyone is having a better week than most of us because the world is going crazy, and I just want to say if you are crashing out, it is completely okay to crash out. But I wanted to talk about commitment and communication in a relationship because I'm watching Love Island at the moment. I'm a season behind, but I am enjoying just being involved, I guess, in other people's relationships. It's so interesting. There's so many things you can learn about human psychology from a dating show. But I am watching the show and I am just so surprised with how people can put themselves up in a pedestal and have their cake and think they can have their cake and eat it too. And also the communication skills. I think a lot of situations or a lot of relationship conflicts get blown out of proportion when certain information is kept, right? And I think just from my observance, right? A lot of people feel that they have this obligation to protect the other person's feelings. And as a result of that, they think that keeping certain information from your partner is what's going to keep the relationship intact. But from what I've seen, at least, I think that does the opposite of what we wanted to do. And as much as we have like good intentions about, protecting other people's feelings and keeping things, I think that open and honest communication is better in the long run. I'm not gonna say that like communication is just all rounder, like the best, the secret to all perfect relationships, because either way, like when you are communicating something, because our human emotions are very plastic, like they can change in a second, and when you can't really help how you feel, everyone is different, but when you start to feel something where you feel like you've had chemistry with someone else rather than your own partner, that sucks. That honestly sucks. And whoever has to hear that, it's not a pleasant thing to hear. But I think where it goes wrong is when people start to kind of brush it under the rug and not address it with their partner, because that's how things start to manifest in the wrong way, and your partner finds out eventually because you're unemotionally available, because you've been keeping all of these things from them, and now everything is kind of messed up and everything had gone wrong just because you chose to keep certain information from your partner. But that's what I kind of want to emphasize, is that sometimes when you make a decision that like your chemistry with someone else might be better than the one that you have now, I think you just have to say it up front. And you can't please people. Like, you can't keep two relationships at the same time. You just can't. It's disrespectful. Like, if you feel that you have a better relationship with someone else or connection, just leave the relationship that you're in now and explore that. There's no reason to prolong something because you're unsure. I think that just you having that feeling of someone else might be better for me is already an indication that there is something wrong with your relationship. And I understand, I've talked about fighting for your relationship and being committed and all of that stuff, but I think nowadays, especially with all of the options that we have everywhere, I think that the most respectful thing and human thing that we can do is to walk away from a relationship before you start behaving a certain way, because it hurts other people's feelings and you're wasting other people's time. So do yourself a favor and the other person and walk away from a relationship if you know that you're not going to be able to give 100% to that person. I know, like, humans, we're so flawed and we want to be able to do both, because if you leave one relationship, you don't know if the other one's going to be better. But that's the whole concept of commitment, is that you choose one thing and you stick with it. You see it through the end. But people these days feel like they can get away with it, or Sometimes there's even situations when you can have a hall pass and explore something with somebody and not be disrespectful to your other partner. And I feel like people are forming different definitions of this on their own, which is completely fine because everyone is navigating this life for the first time and we don't exactly have the best resources or skills to maintain a healthy relationship. Our generation is just so different from the previous one, and we just have to make the best out of it, and we have to learn from our own mistakes. But I hope people are not scared to acknowledge the fact that we are flawed, and we have to accept that people's feelings change in a second. And if your connection with somebody, whether it's expired before your feelings expired, it's okay, right? Like, someone else's energy or their love for you, if that's why self-love is so important. If someone else can't give that love to you anymore, like, you have to be able to derive that from your own. You cannot depend on someone else's love to feel validated. And before you get into a relationship, I think it's so important to even work on yourself before you can commit to a relationship. And I think this is so obvious. Everybody already knows this. But these people, they can still get away with it. They can still enter a relationship and think to themselves that, okay, I'm committed to this person, and then all of a sudden switch up and jump ship and think that what they're doing is prioritizing themselves, which I understand. It makes sense. Like, you feel the way that you feel. Nobody else can invalidate that. It's okay. But what you're doing wrong sometimes, most of us, what we're doing wrong is that we don't walk away from a relationship early enough to prevent someone else from hurting from your decisions. And that is honestly, I think, is the secret. I wouldn't say, like, honestly, I haven't put this to test, but I'm just saying, like, if everybody can just acknowledge the fact that we're all flawed, and you have the courage and you care about your partner enough to say, like, hey, I care for you, I love you, I have so much respect for you that I want to tell you this is how I'm feeling at this moment, and I don't want to disservice you by staying in this relationship if I'm not going to give you 100%. And unfortunately, like, this is just how I feel. I don't know if it's going to change in the future, but I just don't think I should stay in this relationship if I'm feeling this way. And as much as it hurts me to walk away, I just feel like this is better because you deserve someone better, or whatever it is, right? I think if we can just say that up front to your partner or to our partners, then I feel like things could be a little bit better, and everyone is not kind of trauma dumping on each other when they're getting into relationships, because that's kind of what's happening lately, is that we have these unresolved feelings from our past relationships and we bring it to the next one, and none of us kind of do the work in between to be confident, so have self-love, so that we can be in a relationship and function independently. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of put it out there because, yeah, it's so unfortunate that we're going through all of this, and everyone is flawed, everyone makes mistakes. So if we can just accept and not overlook, but if we can just accept the fact that that's just how it is, and it's okay for people to leave you, it's okay to leave people, to outgrow certain connections with people, that it's completely okay. We're all here to see what's out there for us, and we're never going to know what's good for us without trying it out. But the thing that you have to be very careful about is articulating that to your partner before you even start exploring things, because you can't have 2 chapters open and think that it's going to be okay. It's really not okay. So I hope people I am also a human and I make mistakes, but that's just like one thing that I am working on as well, is being able to say things early enough and detect it, and being honest with myself as well if I'm feeling this way to my partner, so that we can prevent. I'm not saying that it's gonna solve things and people are gonna walk away from a relationship without any pain. I'm just saying, like, if you can say it early enough, and you're honest about the reality of like this is just how it is, then I think people can walk away from a relationship less hurt and less pain and less trauma that's going to be passed on to other people. And also it's good to kind of impart to other people like, hey, it's okay to walk away when you are feeling a certain way, and you're kind of owning up to your feelings and you're holding yourself accountable, because the last thing you want to do is become the person who's gonna, cause infidelity in your relationship. That is the heaviest guilt that you can carry for a very really long time. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to share that, and I hope it clicks for some people. But anyway, you guys have a great week. Love Island is showing right now. If you haven't seen any dating show, I would highly recommend it, because honestly it's so entertaining, although most of it is just drama and tea. But I think if you look deeper on a human level, like, you can see everyone's reflection in each cast members, and I think that's what I really like about it. Anyway, you guys have a great week, and stay safe out there, and I'll see you probably next time. Bye.